Welcome to the Intern Whisperer Live, the show all about internships and how to survive them. This is Jerron.
This is Val.
This is Isabella.
And on our show tonight is Jazmin Diaz, a student from Valencia College and the winner of the Valencia College Social Entrepreneur Competition. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
And also coming up this episode of Intern Whisperer Live, we're going to talk about some great leaders, internships, social entrepreneurship, and the coolest innovation in your industry.
So how can people find us? They can look for us on Facebook. This is Facebook Live, people, so hopefully they're watching us now. We are also, so look for facebook.com and /intern pursuit. You can also find us on Pivot Biz Consult. You can find us on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on all of those great social channels. And if you're going to listen live, and we love live listeners, it's mixlr.com/Valencia College Radio and search for Intern Whisperer. Okay, guys.
So for our first sponsor, we have the Florida Patent Association. Patient Association. I think it's the third time I've done that. Whose mission is to bring support and services to patients in the state of Florida. If you have not received help and support you need from an injury in the healthcare industry, contact Florida Patient Association for guidance on your rights. Thank you, Florida Patient Association, and you can reach them at floridapatientassociation.com.
All right. So tonight we have Jazmin Diaz, and I met Jazmin because I was invited by Professor Jared Kellicay to be a judge at the social entrepreneur competition that they had over here at Valencia College. And all of the students, aside from being a judge, I also was invited to come and do how to prepare for your pitch. And so I did a workshop, 2 workshops on the campus, and that's really where I got to meet Jazmin. And then I was also on, not the judge. I said judge. I really wasn't a judge. I did the workshops. I was all excited. I wanted to be a judge. But we were a sponsor. So we were a sponsor, and one of the prizes was to be able to come on to the show. So I'm really happy to have Jazmin as a guest. She is obviously a student, and she has her own business, and she won first place. So that's really excited. So Jazmin, why don't you tell us about what that was like? Was it? Were you scared? Were you nervous?
I was definitely a little nervous. That was the first time I've ever competed, like in outside of sports or anything like that. So, yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking, like exposing my passion and my business structure and kind of how I've always envisioned, my career playing out. So, but it was a great first step. I think the knowledge and the expertise that you shared, as well as like other participants of the competition, it really helped kind of shape where I'm at today with Queens for Queens. So it kicked it off for sure.
And we didn't ever say what her business is, so let's be sure and share that. So Queens for Queens, what is that? Q for Q.
So Queens for Queens, also known as Q for Q, is a women's organization that's dedicated towards breaking down societal barriers and kind of walls that younger women specifically have the tendency to, be catty or judgmental towards one another. So once a month, we host an event based on the topics that they want. And the goal is to really kind of push forward on individual levels, but then unify women in this community to, befriend one another and connect and
support, right?
And support and all those
good
things.
You guys, I don't know if you know of any women that would be really interested in the organization, but as men, it's always nice for you to send women over to these organizations. Sometimes, and I agree with you, women can be kind of catty because it kind of goes back to that middle school mentality. And it's a place where there's acceptance and support and nurturing. And I know that one of the things that we talked about is making sure that it would be more cross-generational, so that it would not be just even a specific demographic.
Yeah, more often than not, all of our facilitators or speakers are usually older women, not intentionally, but it's more of sharing their wisdom and experience throughout life that really helps shape younger women. I know I'm a recipient of it, even amongst conversations we've had. So, but for you two, we actually have an event coming up for men So it's going to be in June, Kings for Queens. So it's kind of going to dive into, masculine toxicity and also what a male feminist looks like in the workplace, at home, in relationships, but also giving men a platform to kind of share their experience.
Is this more of like a workshop type deal, or would you say it's more of like a seminar?
It's conversational, definitely. Okay. So it's designed to be led by the group itself. Mm-hmm. So very commune style. It is what we want to make it every single time. So the first event we had was definitely a speaker audience environment, but this one coming up in May is going to be more of like breakout sessions. So workshops to some degree, but more of like kind of storytelling and also just venting and all, walking away with some type of knowledge that you didn't have before.
And what are the dates again for those shows?
So May 30th or May 26th is our Women on the Grind event, which is all about professionalism. So focusing on topics like sexual harassment, salary negotiation, working with other women. And Isabella is actually going to be a huge part of that one. So we're excited. And then in June, it is Kings for Queens. So that's going to be the 30th as well.
Okay.
And for people who want to find out more information, where's the best place for them to look?
queensforqueens.com.
Well, we were having this discussion. So is it the word for or the number for?
We've had some issues with ownership on certain platforms, but the website itself is queensforqueens.com.
Yeah, really important for our listeners to know how to find you, right? We want that.
And it is Q for Q on Facebook, correct?
Q for Q on
with
Facebook.
The number 4.
With the number 4.
Yeah. And I see that we have our favorite online
number 1 supporter.
Supporter. Yeah, this is Jerron's aunt.
Oh, nice.
And she listens every week, and we love her. And she was out there helping us, going, hey, listen to the show tonight. So hopefully if there are any of your own friends and your supporters and your family, they can find us right now on internpursuit.com. Well, I'm sorry, on Facebook /internpursuit, and like the page, and then they'll be able to write comments in and write.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So hopefully that's happening. Now, I wanted to continue this whole journey about what social entrepreneurship is, and feel free to keep weaving the Q for Q conversation throughout this. So many people don't understand what social entrepreneurship is. How do you define that for them?
For me, once I knew I qualified as a social entrepreneur, was acknowledging the fact that not only do I want to have a business that is for profit, but also is tangibly making a social impact. Mm-hmm. So whether that's, as a whole, whether it's bettering humanity or a niche demographic that you're trying to improve or something socially driven that I wanted to measure is something that qualifies for me a social entrepreneur, where you're wanting to make this a business that's for profit but also a social impact as well.
Mm-hmm. And so you're looking at helping women, of course, be more nurturing and supportive of each other. But do you have any other causes that you're going to be trying to weave into this conversation?
So we definitely want to have a charitable aspect. So every event that we conduct, there's some type of donation, whether that's money or resources to a different organization or a specific person in the community. So there's actually a girl who is having her first child coming up for our event this month. And so a lot of, mothers or women that want to contribute with diapers or any type of funding, that's going to go to her as well. So
is she a single mom?
She's a single mom, and it's her first child. Yeah. So she's really, and she doesn't know. This is kind of a surprise. So hopefully she's not listening. But yeah, so whether it's individual or an organization like Harbor House is a partner of ours as well. So.
Yeah, and for our listeners who don't know what Harbor House is, it's for domestic abuse, right?
Yes, it's a domestic
women
violence
that have been
shelter.
In domestic abuse. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Yep. So on the program that's coming up, I also wanted to be able to talk this coming Sunday. It's Sunday, and we didn't tell our listeners what time the event is. And
it's actually Saturday.
Oh,
the
Saturday.
26th.
I'm like totally thrown off.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
It's going to be at 7 p.m.
It's at Starter Studio downtown.
And it'll go from 7 to 9. So yeah, and then we have about 15 slots left. So if you're interested in attending, you can purchase tickets on queensforqueens.com.
And how much are tickets?
15.
Okay.
Pre-sale and 18 day of.
Yeah. So any of our listeners know that they can come to that.
Yeah.
On the social entrepreneur, we were looking this up, and I had asked the guys to look up what social entrepreneurship is. We don't need the definition, but you found some interesting social entrepreneurial organizations. What did each of you find?
So for me, I was talking about Life Straw, relatively new company that is developing affordable, basically water filtration systems that you can bring to anywhere where they don't have clean water, and you can basically have access to it no matter where you're getting it from. So you basically just plop it into any water source, and that water is now clean and drinkable.
Do you know how it was done?
I do not know. I would think it's a charcoal filter.
Yeah, like a Brita, right?
Yeah,
so they
like
can
a
put
Brita.
water in there, and then when they pour it through, it comes out clean, and it's like through a straw, though.
Yeah, it's the same way. So basically you put one end in.
I remember where I heard about this. It was from David Metcalf with the UCI Corps, and they were talking about that exact type of product.
There's also a great Good Mythical Morning episode about it, if you are fans of
What
different
is
types.
Mythical Morning?
It's another podcast.
It's another podcast.
That sounds interesting.
It's a good. They just basically drink from anything from just like regular like LA river water all the way up to like
Using the straw?
using the straw. Yeah, and they do it on the show.
So the story that David Metcalf shared, it was when the hurricane came through last year in September. He lives out in Merritt Island, and the water was shut down in the house. But they had that straw, and he has sons, and they went, well, we don't have any water. What are we going to do? But they had a swimming pool. They said, can we go drink from the swimming pool? And he said, yeah, this product works.
Wow.
So they did that. But then they went, well, we have a fish tank. Can we drink from the fish tank? And he said, yeah, you can
so
do
any
that.
water
Yeah.
source are pretty much good for.
So your water source can be different types of. It was just an interesting story because I was going, yeah, I could see a mom going, no, you're not drinking from the fish tank, because on one side, what would happen to the fish if we drink all the water for the fish,
Yeah.
right? But anyway, it was very, very interesting, and it was all about how it did go through a filtration process for you to be able to drink it. And I'm still a little hesitant about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's hard to like let go of that fear.
Yeah, a perception,
Just-
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's through a straw, but like, how do I know if it's really clean?
yeah.
Yeah. But yet we trust the water that we turn on the tap and believe that it's supposed to be pure, right?
I guess one of our listeners on the radio app said, poor fish. Right there.
Oh, okay. Poor fish. Oh, that's cool. Well, that's really nice. So, yay, that's a live listener.
Yeah, it's actually the first one I've
That's
seen.
awesome.
Actually
Yay.
comment like that. So thank you, Rob McCaffrey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Rob is upstairs. He is.
I will take it.
Yeah, I am too. I'm happy. He's upstairs. He runs the video production program here. Hi, Rob. I still need to talk to you later today, so don't leave the building. Anyway, and we have Cynthia Singleton.
That's also my aunt.
Oh, that's another.
my goodness.
She's
Your
bringing
family.
the whole family.
Yeah.
The whole family.
I know.
Yeah.
Can I post this on my Facebook really quick?
Yeah,
Oh,
go
great.
ahead and do that.
Yeah, do it while we're still here.
Yeah. So I know of a social entrepreneur company, and it's called Clean the World. And what they do is they go through and they contact hotels. They gather all of those soap remnants, repurpose them, repackage them, and then they're shared with homeless and third world countries that need clean soap to be able to take care of themselves. Jerron, did you find one that came up?
I did not have time to find one myself.
So that's okay. We certainly were able to do quite a bit. So the really cool thing about social entrepreneurism is it's about making money, and it is a profit business. It's a B Corp really, but they can actually make money, and then they also have some of the special designations of a nonprofit. So they have more accessibility to different sources of funding. So that's pretty cool. Jared Kellicay is the professor that teaches that over here at Valencia College. I really would like to have Jared as a guest on the show.
Yeah, he'd be awesome.
Yeah, Rob said he's listening from home.
Oh, that's even better. That is so cool. Okay, and we need to have Rob on the show too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Yeah.
We still need to have Q, actually. I was thinking about the other day.
Yeah,
So.
that would be good also. Yeah, you're right. We need to bring in some of these. I do want to have Nell Thompson, also from Full Sail, come over and be a guest. So that would be awesome. So we have a lot of people from different schools, UCF, Full Sail. We need to get Lindsay over on the show from UCF.
Yeah,
okay.
have a professor's perspective on things.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, from marketing. Anyway, okay, so let's go back to what your experience has been like. Now, you were never an intern. That's so interesting to me. Yet, she's worked with interns and she's hired them. Where did you do that? What was that like?
So I worked at a company in Salt Lake City, Utah for about 4 years. And it was a dietary supplement, skincare, sports nutrition company. And I really grew within. I was hired on as a receptionist. And at that time, my only goal was to ensure that every single person in the building, including the CEO, knew me by name. Like, I didn't want to be referred to as a receptionist. I wanted them to say, ask Jasmine or good morning, Jasmine. So yeah, that really instilled, I think, a strong networking foundation for me, because I was able to spark conversations and, curate relationships with people. So I grew within. I was then promoted to HR as like an admin. So I helped with onboarding people. And then I was approached by the marketing director, Gina Danes. And she pretty much just said, like, this whole social media thing is coming about. We don't have time to learn it. I don't know anything about it, but do you want to handle it for us? Do you want to start it and run it? And at that time, we had products in Nordstrom and Costco. And so it was a big scale task, but yeah, so I couldn't do it myself, and I worked with the University of Utah, and we brought on interns every semester. So that's kind of where that whole process and relationship came from.
So my question is, were they paid or unpaid interns?
So they were unpaid. We graded them every semester. So part of their, kind of incentive to some degree was to work with us in whatever field they wanted. So they had the choice. It was either e-commerce or marketing, like from a digital standpoint. So, that was kind of, in order for them to graduate, we had to be able to pass them. That was the...
Yeah. So it was for credit for them.
Right.
Yeah, and it's a pass-fail grade usually.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a letter grade. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So that company, I would definitely like to be connected with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that sounds interesting.
A question I had for you was when you were saying how you wanted everyone to know your name, did you always have like that mindset of always trying to network in any situation you were, or always trying to sell yourself?
Yeah.
Or at least where did you develop those skills, if anything, or that mindset?
If anyone's met my mother, she is the epitome of a networker by nature. Like, she doesn't try. I've just my entire life witnessed her spark conversation with the cashier at any grocery store, like, really looking for any type of common ground, was what I've always witnessed growing up and even now. So that was, I think, instilled in me really young, was to just be adaptable to different personalities and people.
Do you have any advice for people who are trying to achieve that better networking ability?
I think even if you're talking to someone who's the owner of some crazy successful company, or, a cook or whoever, I think just looking for a common trait or, some type of thing that you can connect on. Even if it's for women, we tend to kind of gravitate towards like, fashion or families and things like that. So for me, just a simple compliment with someone can really, gear them into the right direction to wanting to converse with you and things like that. So after that, it's easy.
It sounds easy, but
it's not. Yeah.
It's not always, because people that have more introverted personalities, and they're more quiet and withdrawn, it's challenging.
It
for
is,
them,
yeah.
But those were really good, tips.
Yeah,
and suggestions.
and also just kind of looking at, not looking at the title or things that they might carry as far as accolades or anything like that. I think just understanding, like, we're humans. That's just,
and when you're trying to figure out how to be a good conversationalist, ask questions.
Yeah,
because then you get people to talk about themselves, and you don't have to talk about yourself.
Right.
So it's like, really, how did you get into that career? And they'll go for a long time and talk about that.
Or can I pick your brain on whatever.
Yeah,
People.
you know, how to peel an artichoke. Pick anything. It can be anything.
Have you actually ever asked that question?
No, I haven't. But that's a good question. But I love artichokes, so that's why it just entered my head. Anyway, so okay, so back to this. You know, you worked with the students, and you were able to learn more about internships from an employer perspective. What advice do you think would be really great to give other employers?
In terms of bringing on interns?
Yeah.
I think seeking out innovation and growth within their company. So for me, that was a huge benefit that any intern brought to my team was just, you know, our meetings or our days would consist of sitting in a conference room for like hours on end. I would order lunch for everyone, and we would just whiteboard the next 6 months of strategy per brand. So the innovation piece and the creativity and like the drive that interns have, I think is crucial to consider and to kind of think about in your business structure, because without it, you know, you're inevitably going to be a little stagnant, I think, if you're not incorporating new ideas.
You have to have other perspectives.
Yeah.
I agree with you, because I don't know. I don't think it's just a certain demographic. I think it's just getting outside perspective, which is why we want focus groups. You know, focus groups can come in here, and it's, you know, what do you think of this product? What do you think of this this service? And they really give us insight that we actually had never seen.
Yep.
Yeah, innovation comes from lots of places. Did you have any questions so far? Because I think I've been monopolizing, but I just want to make sure I'm not doing that, because I will continue to go down our...
One thing I did want to ask, I don't know if it was mentioned earlier when I was working the board, what was the inspiration for your company? Or was like a specific event or anything that triggered this thought?
I think from a really young age, I've always been drawn to the power that women carry, like innately, whether that includes motherhood or, you know, the ability to even like bear children on a physical level, and just kind of all the things that they multitask on a, like, just naturally. Like, they don't have to think about if something spills. It's not like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? They just jump. You know, we're able to kind of, I don't know, just adapt to multiple scenarios and things like that. But I think my push and my driver to really go forward with it was acknowledging that I've had certain situations happen in my life, or opportunities that have always pushed me to this idea in my head. So it was no longer like, should I do it? It was like, no, like, your whole life path has kind of prepared you for this moment. So really utilize it and fulfill it. Women are definitely, and it sounds weird, but women are a passion of mine as far as empowering them and connecting with them, and just simple conversation that is just super powerful for me with women. So
yeah.
kind of
I think for
knowledge
the
for
most
sure.
part, the reason why is that a lot of women that I know are very strong personalities, and they like to see things done and make them happen quickly. So I think that's part of why it's really great to work with women, because you put a bunch of women together and they can push things through on a completely different level, because it's more relational. Not saying that it's not the case with men. Men, I think, are more goal oriented. Like,
Well, they're actionable. So, you know, it's more of like, you know, that instant, not gratification, but like move, where women are a little bit more like, you know, we're methodical and we think things, we analyze and perceive things a little bit more in detail consistently. Not to say that men don't, but more often than not, we're complex.
Yeah.
As a whole, we're complex creatures.
Yeah. I usually go with, and you guys feel free to speak up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a
Less
great
complex,
conversation.
like dogs, super friendly, like, oh my gosh, yeah, you know, like guys are like that. But women are more like cats in this sense of like, oh, you know, maybe we like you, maybe we don't. So, you know, it's that kind of thinking.
Well, not to generalize, because there's always, you know, outliers and different things
Absolutely.
like that. But in general, there's a great video out there. I think it's called like waffle and spaghetti brained people. And they say that, like, generally men are more waffle brained, where it's like they have little compartments that everything fits into.
I would agree with that.
And women are more spaghetti brained a lot of times, where everything is connected and one knowledge from one area can like weave into the knowledge from another area.
Yeah.
It's a pretty interesting video. I don't know if the science still holds up about it. It might be pretty old at this point, but I think that's kind of like
I don't know. I don't
you're
think that's
talking
old
about.
science. That makes sense to me,
Yeah.
honestly. Yeah. Oh, look, we have some other listeners up here.
See,
Yeah.
Brian Perez.
Brian's a really old friend of mine.
Well,
Brian.
hello, Brian. So we should make sure we say hello to him also. So that's really nice. So, yeah, I just wanted to make sure we haven't missed any questions that came up here. So far, no questions. So that's okay. So, great leaders. When you saw this question, when we were talking about it earlier, there were a lot of people that came to your mind, and you're certainly not limited in any capacity. Who are some great leaders that have inspired you and helped you helped shape your thinking and just who you are now?
I mean, at the forefront of leadership, my parents definitely are the first that come to mind. Both, you know, my mother and father, and also stepmother. You know, they contributed a lot of my core values as far as, you know, who I am today. So whether that's how I manage my money or how I connect with people, you know, manage relationships in my family. I think that's where I first saw leadership. And I was, you know, really big into sports too growing up. So like a coach of mine, Alex Bennett, which I've always said that I would always tout a lot of my success to him, is he was someone who, you know, instilled discipline. Like it was black or white with him always. So that was huge. But someone that definitely catapulted me in a professional light would be my previous manager, Gina Danes, and also Hillary Gibbon. They were these two powerhouse women that when they walked into a room, they taught me how to command a presence and also demand respect from those who might not, you know, take my opinions or my ideas into consideration. Those are women definitely that I think about all the time when I'm conducting a meeting or, you know, presenting an idea. I think about ways that they have always, you know, taught me how to push that through and kind of assert my power as someone.
Do you still see them?
I see Hillary Gibbon quite a bit. She lives in Orlando, but Gina Danes is in Salt Lake City, so I don't really see her much. But I wrote her actually a letter right before I launched Queens for Queens, and I just was thanking her and was kind of saying that she is someone that forever changed my path. She offered me huge opportunities too through my job. I was able to interview Jennifer Lopez because of that.
No.
Yeah. And this only comes up at the end of the conversation.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
We're all in awe.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I mean, she took an 18-year-old girl and was just like, "Yep, go to New York and represent our company." And
Oh my God. Could you guys imagine that?
it was really dope.
At 18, you're being sent off and say, go represent my company.
Yeah. And it was at Fashion Week too. It wasn't like just some
Oh my goodness.
random trip. Yeah. It was. So I think the trust that she instilled in me so young with little to no experience really showed me what I was capable of, because I knew I didn't want to let her down. So I was like, all right, you better deliver, or you better not go back home. Like, you need to come back with substance. So
I like what you just said there too, that that instilled so much confidence in you, because it really makes, I think, everybody strive to be more than what your mind limits you to be. So that's really where, back with you guys, I'm going, okay, no, we got to push the envelope, right?
Yeah.
And how do we keep pushing it? It's working as a team. And that's one of the things we were talking about before you got here is how do we keep taking our show up to another level and just organizing, getting feedback from listeners. We'd love to have feedback from listeners about what they would like to hear.
yeah.
When I ask people, they say, oh, we like the entrepreneurship, we like that topic, we like leadership, and of course it's about internships, so it should be that. But we certainly want to hear from other listeners. Oh, and on our Intern Pursuit Facebook page, I did post, speaking of polls and surveys, a survey for employers and a survey for students about their internship experiences. So please, 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 for all of our listeners, please go and complete those surveys. I have to submit those at my weekly UCF Core meeting, which is this Friday. I have to do a presentation based on the feedback. So I need feedback from solopreneurs, small businesses, medium-sized businesses. It can be scaling companies too. I had a friend that's with Universal Studios. She completed that. So that's really helpful for me to hear how employers are doing it. But I need, honestly, I'm trying to hit a mark. I said 100, but I'd like it to be 150 students that give me feedback on what their internship experiences have been like. Because what they're doing by sharing that, answering those questions, is they're telling me how to help other employers to make it a better experience for the next intern that goes in there in that business. So please support those. Share it with your friends.
Yeah, one thing I think would be helpful with that too is telling employers to share any type of like case studies or testimonials of you know situations where working with interns turned into a long-term position and things like that, because
and it also
we onboarded
gives,
a lot of our interns.
Return on investment too, because that's really what employers care about.
Right.
Is like, what's the return? Because I could spend anywhere from $3,500, $4,000 to have a student work with me for 3 months, and then what is that return? Was there a 2x? Was there a 3x? You know, what was the return that came back? Was there sales? Was there, you know, something like, you know, more people seeing the business, more eyes on the page? That's what employers care about. So anyway, I wanted to make sure I shared that. Okay, so I'm going to move on down. I think we have to do a sponsor shout out.
Of course. Sponsor number 2, Affiliate Manager. Affiliate Manager offers a complete management service that covers all aspects of developing and optimizing an affiliate program from top to bottom. Not only do we provide expertise, identify high potential opportunities, and execute campaigns to maximize performance, we make it a point to require minimal work from our merchant partners. You can reach them at affiliatemanager.com. Thank you, Affiliate Manager, for sponsoring the Intern Whisperer Live.
So I realized I don't think we ever asked Jazmin what her major is.
What's your major?
Yeah, I'm having to take a little pause and go, oh, we skipped a lot of information that we would normally ask our guests, like, what's your major?
Well, I was actually telling these guys before we started that I did things a little backwards. Like, right out of high school, I flew to Salt Lake, did the career thing for...
Okay, so you did that at 18, but I just can't imagine, like, your mom said, okay, bye, honey.
That's absolutely what she did. She was
really
like, spread your wings and fly. And my dad was like, what are you doing? Like,
you mean she put you on the plane? And is this somebody she knew? How did that work?
For like why I was going to Salt Lake?
Yeah,
I have family there, so it was an easy transition.
Okay, that explains a lot. Yeah, it's a lot easier for a parent to go, okay, I'm sending you off to Salt Lake, and here, I know you're going into safe hands.
Right.
Are you originally from the Orlando area?
I was born in Salt Lake, raised in Seattle, and then moved to Orlando, like middle school.
Okay.
Yeah. But to answer your question, so I'm actually at Valencia now, in pursuit of just my AA with a certificate in international marketing. And then if I choose to kind of further that, I would for sure go into more of like the business, you know, management side of things. But the international marketing piece is huge because I definitely plan on taking Queens for Queens National and hopefully international one day. So, yeah.
So that's really interesting. That perspective of working in these, it was a marketing firm that you were with, and then the going to Fashion Week, that wasn't a marketing firm.
Yeah,
that had to be something different.
So the brands that we managed, it was kind of a twofold agency or I guess company because we owned a lot of those brands. So we sponsored like a B tier section of Fashion Week. So and through one of our products. So we had a booth and we had all these things, but they wanted social media coverage. So they sent me out as the company representative. So there I was able to like actually bring my mom along, and it was definitely an interesting experience. But yeah, it was kind of twofold, marketing and also the production side of it.
And I think you had said something about like this is where they did not have social media.
Yeah,
that actually wasn't that long ago, apparently.
Yeah,
so you're
it was definitely digital was something that was not practice. They were definitely like heavily print driven, and TV and things like that. So our entire like the e-commerce department was
traditional
fairly new.
outlets.
Correct. Yeah. So it was a little nerve wracking.
So what were the social channels at that time?
Well, Facebook
Only
was our
Facebook?
main hitter. Instagram was fairly new. Pinterest was new. You weren't able to place any ads on Instagram or Pinterest or anything like that. So Facebook was our top like revenue generator from a social standpoint. So it is possible to generate money off of Facebook and all those things because a lot of businesses misinterpret the power of just brand awareness on social, because how can you track when someone's in a store and they see an Instagram post and they're like, oh my God, this is the thing that I wanted. There's no coupon code. There's no way to, so it's a lot of people don't value it as a, source to generate a lot of money because it's hard to track. But we found ways, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Our interns helped a lot too with like launching campaigns that resulted in, us making a lot of money off of them. So.
What would you say is the most important social media platform right now?
I mean, for me, Instagram is huge just because the aesthetic alone, like how the interface is and the way it lays out like your personal profile, you really have an opportunity to be like creative and almost like artistic with your content. So that is my kind of top-notch platform.
Mm-hmm.
Curious, how many followers do you have on Instagram?
Right now, so we started our page in April, and we have about 350. So not too many, but
Not too many. But you personally, do you have a personal Instagram?
I do, yeah. I have 707, but for me, organic and authentic growth is huge. So I haven't placed any ads. It's all been through cross-branding with influencers or other, people in Orlando. But once I'm able to kind of get to a place to place heavier duty ads, then I'll probably do that.
Yeah, cross promotion with other organizations where you're supporting one another is really, that's very key. I appreciate that also. So I had one other question about what was it like to meet Jennifer Lopez? Because I don't know about you guys, but I really want to know. Like, was she always seems so down to earth on any of the shows I watch her on? Is she really like that?
So I gained like a newfound respect for like A-list celebrities like her, because the day that we like met, because she co-owned one of our brands. So like contractually, we had to have a certain amount of, interviews with her and things like that. So, but the day we actually sat down to meet, she was doing a media tour, which consists of waking up at like 6 a.m. with the East Coast and then tapping into every news channel from the East Coast to the West Coast. So you're sitting in like a chair doing interviews about the same topic for hours.
With this, oh my God.
Because she's just, she was
That's
promoting her movie, The Boy Next Door, at the time. So, yeah, I felt so bad for her because we're in the back, having craft service and like having breakfast, and she's still, and every single interview she was.
And it has to look like it
was like brand new.
The first time.
Like first time talking about this. So, granted, when I met her, she was super, super tired and I think kind of fatigued. So it was very intimidating. I will say that, because I had to interview her. We had to have conversation about, her go-to healthy snacks and things like that. So she was nice. She was definitely, I wasn't able to talk to her on a personal level because I think she just wanted to get out of there.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah. I would understand.
Yeah. But she is an amazing just influencer, I think, and just her presence alone in a room. She acknowledges everyone. She's not like that, bougie, I think, type of nightmare that we would envision some celebrities to be.
So, innovation. What cool things in innovation have you seen?
As far as tech or
anything in tech, a device. Well, you work for
Apple.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
can
work-
say that Apple. She
yeah,
works for
I
Apple.
work for Apple now.
So I'm pretty sure there's pretty cool things that are going on. But I know that there was this one article I read where somebody, a developer, I think, he disclosed something that they were working on that hadn't been announced, and it like
Oof.
cost him his job.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
please
so-
don't do that.
Yeah,
No,
don't
no.
do that. We don't want to have anything bad happen.
No. I think from a tech standpoint, so there's this toothbrush that is sold in the Apple stores, and it's not owned by Apple. It's Colgate is actually the one that makes it. And this was like one of these things that I was like, oh my gosh, this is innovation at its finest.
Can it tell you if you have cavities?
So it doesn't tell you if you have cavities, but it monitors where you brush your teeth. So it will tell you on an app, you miss this spot, you keep missing these areas. And then once you go to the dentist, you can actually send them your progress. So
Yeah.
like they can say, have you been brushing your teeth like twice a day or however often?
And now you have the proof.
And now you have the proof because it's been, monitoring it for however long.
I was in this house. It's called the Witt House, and it's out there in the Lake Nona area.
Mm-hmm.
And it had the coolest innovation, and it had a toothbrush that could tell you if you had any cavities.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God!
That's
yeah,
scary.
yeah, it is. But there were other things that the house had, and I think I talked about this last week. Yeah, but they're saying yes. But this was pretty cool. You hadn't heard this.
Yeah.
But there was a toilet with a bidet, and it actually could tell, based on any of your bodily functions, if you had any diseases like diabetes,
Oh,
if you
my
had any
goodness.
issues with anything that had to do, obviously, with those types of functions of our bodies. So not
That's
just diabetes.
scary.
There were other diseases they could tell. But anyway, it
Wow.
was interesting.
Yeah.
Super, super interesting.
It's crazy to see how fast all of this is coming. I feel like it's,
Is it too fast to you?
I don't know. I mean, it's a little scary. I have an iPhone 10 and like just the face recognition, like to unlock the phone.
Yeah.
I was, I was like, what? Like it's taking a photo of me every time so there's certain things that I'm like weary of, but then I become like, I'm a user of it. So I can't really be that scared, but it's the unknown. It's like, we're tapping into like uncharted
Yeah,
waters.
what are they doing with this information? Because they gather information.
Right. I don't know. That's one thing I'm like, it's full disclosure of, I have no idea.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
So you said you were in sports. What kind of sports did you play?
I played water polo. So I actually had a D1 scholarship to play in New York.
I don't know what a D1 scholarship is. Is that like a full ride or something?
It's based on like your ranking from like a collegiate, like
D1 is the highest ranking.
D1 is, yeah.
Really?
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was,
So like if you're a D1 football team, you're the highest possible
Why
ranking.
isn't it A? Why isn't A the best?
It's all, there is no, it's, the letters always stay the same. It's always D. So
D1.
D1
Oh.
through 5, I think.
mhm.
Maybe 4.
But 1 is the best.
Yes.
Mhm,
I'm
got
assuming
it.
it means division.
Division 1, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
D is for
There.
division.
Division,
Okay,
yeah.
that makes
Yeah.
sense. Because what is that? Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Water polo.
Water polo is probably one of the most underestimated sports because
Yeah, it's
you're
constantly
treading water.
staying up in the
Yeah.
water. Yeah.
It's like minimum within like 10 feet deep. So you can never really, even when a ref calls a timeout, like you can't stand and take a breath. You're still like trying to
Moving.
stay above water. Yeah. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, that would be really, really tough. I did swimming when I was in high
Mm.
school, and I remember swimming in the Rollins pool. I went to Lake Brantley, but in the summer when we swam at Rollins College, their pool, the coach had a cane that if we weren't swimming fast enough, it reached halfway. I'm not kidding. This is not one of those stories you tell when you're like, oh my God, I had to walk all the way up, right? He had a cane that he could hit the back of our heels,
Oh my
and it went
gosh.
halfway across the pool. And like if you got hit, bam, you started moving really, really
Oh
fast.
my God.
It wasn't. It was a gentle tap.
Okay,
I
I was
would
gonna
say it
say
wasn't
this,
like
like-
smack like that.
But
'cause
does he
then
still
you're-
work there?
Oh no, he's
After
no
this,
longer
he's not.
alive.
What
Yeah.
is-
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had passed away. And he was sick, but nonetheless, yeah, that was a real incentive. So,
Yeah.
did you guys do sports?
Theater, chorus.
Same. I did theater and I skated,
Nice.
but that wasn't a school sport. That was more just like what I did.
Yeah,
like, outside
you
of
were
school.
both in theater.
Yes.
Apparently. Yeah, we
talked
talked
about this.
about it ourselves.
I was
Yeah.
a state thespian.
I was also state
He was also a state thespian.
Yep.
And then I did
Cool.
film also. Like,
in chorus for me.
yeah,
So.
and he did chorus while
Yep.
I was doing film. So
Sometime we're
Cool.
gonna make you sing.
All right. I've always considered myself a better actor.
Okay.
I started off singing, but I'm like, yeah, you know.
Okay. Interesting. Anyway, well, I would like to make sure that we give one more shout out for the organization.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we also acknowledge the 2 events that you have that are coming up. Let's make sure all of our listeners know. So this Saturday, 7 to 9 at Starter Studio downtown.
Mm-hmm.
People can still buy tickets even up to the day of the event?
Yeah.
Okay. And where do they go to get those tickets?
So Queens, for Queens, FOR.com.
That's right.
And we actually have our events listed out from now through July. I'm meeting with my team this week to kind of allocate from August to, I think, October is what we're planning for now. So you can sign up for any of our events through now from May to July.
Is that also on Eventbrite?
It is not on Eventbrite. I haven't gotten familiar with Eventbrite enough to post them on there, but I need to. So
I'll tell you about that
soon
one,
to come. Yeah.
Yep. And then you also have an event that brings men into the conversation.
Yes. So June 30th is our Kings for Queens event. And
where is that one?
That is going to be, the venue is kind of still up in the air. We're waiting on confirmation for sponsors and things, but it's going to be around 7 to 9, same time. And we're going to be talking about, what a male feminist looks like, whether that's in the workplace or in your relationships. And then also kind of getting the perspective from a male point of view of, any type of, not injustices, but how, it's a double-sided coin. If women are expected to be a certain type of way, how do men feel about being expected a certain type of way as well? And really just kind of finding that common ground of vulnerability and
real conversations.
And it's one thing that we pride ourselves on is it's real, unfiltered, and raw conversation. So it's not, you kind of have to be open-minded. We have house rules that we kind of talk about right in the beginning, because some people really do open up and they share very either controversial or personal experiences that we want to be cognizant of. So, but it's powerful, to say the least. It's really powerful to hear what people are doing, how they feel.
Yep, I'm excited about being a part of the organization. Oh, and one other thing, we are doing a new logo for them. So Jazmin has been working with one of the graphic designers, Naya, who's doing that. And she sent those to me so I could see them, but make sure you keep me in the conversation loop on that so I can help guide that process. I like the new designs that are coming out.
I like them too.
Yeah,
she's been awesome. She's quick.
She is quick. Yeah, she's super good. Anyway, but I want to say thank you so much to Valencia College for letting us have our showtime. Thank you, Q, also, who is our station manager.
Yes.
I finally have it right. Station manager for Valencia, for the Valencia College Radio. And we love being in this space. So we are appreciative of that. So thank you very much.
And do we have any more shout-outs? Shout-outs from our guests?
Sorry. Shout out to Brian for tuning in. And shout out to, I guess, everyone. Isabella,
well, people are going to be able to listen to this on the recorded side. So, please, when the show, and it will be published tonight, please share it into your own circle of influence. I think I shared
the link already.
So. Very good,
Shout out to you guys for putting this on. This is awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
People could see this. This is very, they can, obviously, but it's very legit.
They see
very legit in here.
And so I also want to say thank you to my game team, to my marketing team, to the software team, and then also to you guys too for making all of this happen. And just thank you to my mentors. They had Scott Ritchie. He has been working with me. He sent me a text saying, "Hey, how are things going? Let's get together by end of the month," because the goal was to launch Intern Pursuit, the software, by the end of this month. So we're hoping for that deadline. Yeah, I know. I'm hoping. Anyway, that's all that I have. So thank you.
And of course, shout outs to my family because they're always there.
Yeah, we love you, darling. We love you. Love you.
Love you on set too.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna have to make sure we acknowledge both sides of
my whole family's gonna take up the feed.
Yeah, Cynthia and do you call her Aunt Cindy or Aunt Cynthia?
Aunt Cent for me. Our family says Cent.
Cent. Yeah. Okay, yeah, got it. What about you, Val?
Just thank you to all of our listeners. Thanks for coming on the show. It was great having you, and see you next time.
I think your parents were listening this time.
I'm
right?
not sure. They didn't say anything. They may be listening.
You know,
If
Yeah.
they are, thank you.
they
for
may be
listening.
too timid to type it first, but they gotta listen first.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, they will. They will. Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, thank you very much.
No.
And of course, I want to end the show just like we began it. So I want to have this is Duran, this is Isabella, but include you as well. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Awesome. This has been Duran.
This is Jasmine.
This is Isabella.
And this is Val.
And thank you for listening to the Intern Whisperer Live. We'll see you next week.